All right, let's jump into my story. So basically, I am a spiritual teacher and I am here to serve others in their healing and transformation. I have been through so much crazy, miraculous transformation in my 38 years on this planet. And it's kind of insane, and it really informs how I serve others because I have a lot of experience to pull from. I have education, and then I have my recovery background, and I have so many different tools and things that I've learned, and I'm a spiritual seeker, and there's just like so many different things that come together to make this be what I'm meant to do. And I'm a natural teacher, I'm an avid learner, and I am spiritually connected. I have spiritual gifts. I have, I communicate with the spiritual realm fairly easily, especially through meditation. And the divine wisdom that I have, I am definitely meant to share that. And I'm also meant to share just general knowledge and information that I learned myself. Going through my own healing and transformation. And I've done so much healing and transformation. I have gotten sober from alcohol and drug addiction. I have worked in depth on codependency. I've worked in depth on sex and love addiction and my relationship patterns. And I've worked in depth on my spiritual life and my spiritual relationship. I've worked in depth on my relationship with my body. I've worked in depth on spiritual growth and understanding that, and just understanding what's going on with me. And I think one of my greatest gifts is an insane level of self-awareness. There's definitely some blind spots, which I think everybody has, but in terms of having a eagle eye view of what I'm going through and the purpose of that, I really am in touch with that a good amount of the time. I definitely can see the higher good of some of the more challenging aspects of my life, because I've definitely been through a lot of really painful, emotional things, a lot of trauma, and I have grown into someone who wants to serve and support others. And I know that that is what I was meant to be and become. This course is me sharing with you my higher self journey and me getting in touch with this person, because I wasn't this version of myself like 7 or 8 months ago. So I'm going to tell you that story right now. So Christmas Eve of 2022, I was with my partner at the time. We had been together for 6 years total. We owned a home, and we had gone to his family's for Christmas Eve. We came home and we had a really bad fight. It was bad, and we broke up. And breaking up on Christmas Eve, to me, like, I love Christmas and I love the holidays, and so it was very jarring to break up with someone I'd been with so long on such a special day. It was traumatizing. It was definitely a traumatizing fight for me. We had security cameras, and I was watching the fight back because we were trying to figure out some things with the logistics of living together because we owned a home. And when I was watching the tape back and I saw myself in it, I didn't recognize the person that was in the video. And it wasn't just how I looked, because I had gained a lot of weight in that relationship during that time. I'd gained probably 50 pounds. And I was 70 pounds over what my normal weight had been. But it wasn't just the weight, it was the demeanor of how I was. I was so meek and like shrunken, sad, shriveled person. And that's not my spirit at all. That is not my insides at all. That is just a trauma response, and to see that, it shifted my whole trajectory, because I was like, I am not going to live this way anymore. And I walked in a completely new direction towards a completely new paradigm. I began immediately crafting a vision of what I wanted to be, crafting a vision of what I wanted my life to be like, and working towards that. And so it looked like writing a little mini memoir where I wrote how my whole year of 2023 was going to be. And it looked like me making vision boards for my style of how I wanted to dress. And it looked like me becoming an entrepreneur on another level, because I had started businesses before, but this was on a whole nother level where I was taking it more seriously than I ever had. And I just threw myself into becoming who I know I could become and becoming who I knew I really was. So it's not like this highest expression of me isn't me. It's me. It's just me living more authentically from my spirit, and my spirit being, a big part of how I present. Before it wasn't. It was so much about approval, and it was so much about relationships and codependency and pleasing others and trying to prove that I was worthy. That was like a big thing. And this higher self journey has been one of miracles and feeling supported by the universe. Becoming this amazing version of myself where I just feel aligned, and I feel aligned with what I was put on earth to do. So my Deprogram looked like hanging out with new people. So I left that relationship and began hanging out with an amazing group of women that were in recovery with me. My sponsor, and then different people that went to the meetings that I went to. And it was these women who are very beautiful and successful and really on a different level in terms of how I was feeling. They were definitely more confident in their body, or at least seemed to be more confident in their body and in their career choices and their finances. It was just like a different level, and it was great because I was surrounded by this. It was like all these women that were exemplifying some of the qualities that I was wanting to portray in myself. So I started to spend time with them, and then I started to look at myself and what I wanted to change, or what wasn't in alignment with where I was going. And yeah, it really started with that. And it was like I had my vision, I had these people. And another big thing that was a part of my Deprogram was meditating. So I would meditate. I started to meditate twice a day. I started to meditate in the morning and before I went to bed. And I would do either transcendental meditation, I would do a guided meditation, and then eventually I started to use Insight Timer. Meditation was a huge part of it because that's where I started to discover that I had an ability to communicate with the spiritual realm. And I wouldn't have found that out if I didn't start meditating and journaling. And so it wasn't just, I started meditating and I started journaling what was coming through. And that was profound. That really started my Deprogram on another level. It started my new paradigm, like seeing my new paradigm clearly, like way more clearly. And that meditation process began the vision of my higher self. I would be driving to work to a job I did not like, but it was a job that showed me what a great teacher I am. So I am grateful that I was there. At the time I wasn't. And I was driving to work and I would be listening to like Queen RV or listening to like this boppy music. And I would see this vision of my higher self, and she would just have the most like long, beautiful hair. Like it would be, colors, or it would be black. And she always had bangs, and she just looked fierce, and she would be like moving and dancing and just like happy and just chill. And it was like this vision came, and it was like, that is me. And it looked completely different than how I looked at the time and how I dressed. I would wear only neutrals. I was wearing baggy clothes. I dressed kind of like androgynous, like I would wear kind of masculine clothes. and didn't like to show my body and or be sexy or anything like that. And this was completely different. She was sexy, and she was in color, and she was in a boldness that I didn't know was going to come into fruition for me. Something really interesting coincided with me meeting my higher self in that vision. I got accepted into a business class for artists, and this was a prestigious program in Nashville. They only picked 25 people from hundreds of applicants. I got chosen for it, and this really sped up the trajectory because we had to narrow down what our business was, what our brand was, like what we were trying to do. And oddly enough, it really helped me narrow down my purpose and what I'm here to do. And it changed over the months of working through that program, because at first I was like, well, I'm an artist. And it kind of ended up being, I'm a teacher. Like, I am an artist. I do make art, but really my purpose, that like what I am meant to do on a more regular basis, is teaching. So I figured that out, and it was kind of all aligned with the higher self piece, my higher self vision. And so she just started to come into reality. So it started with just seeing her, dancing, driving in my car, listening to music, right? It was such a music-based thing. I would hear a certain song, and it was like, we're connected. She is here. And her name is Lotus Rose, and I figured that out eventually. But yeah, so it was like, I had this vision. She's starting to come through. When I started that business course, I started to do little things that were like her. So I started to have a bold lip. I never wore lipstick before. So I started to wear lipstick, and like really bold lipstick. I started to wear colors and I didn't wear colors. So it was like these little things that it was like whatever I could do, I started to do with what I had. And so it was like, if I had a dress that had color and some pattern, I would wear that. And if I had a couple lipstick, colors, I would put those on. And I just started to live as her to the most of my ability at the time. And that grew and grew. And so I was still living with my ex-partner until we sold our house. And it really skyrocketed when I moved into my own apartment. I started to build a world for her. So it was like, I have this new space. I'm going to make my surroundings colorful. I'm going to make my surroundings exemplify Lotus Rose. Like, I'm going to have a set for teaching. I'm going to have another set for teaching. I'm going to have a flower wall. I'm going to have a neon sign. I'm going to have my paintings up. I'm going to have a vanity. It was just like these things that I just was like, she needs this. She needs this. And it's really cool how it all came together. It's kind of like miraculous and amazing and definitely divinely guided. So I did my whole apartment. I got clothes that totally aligned with her. So it was like color, spiritual, witchy, glam, wigs. It was like I got wigs and I got makeup and I just dove into like, she needs yada yada yada, and I was able to, because we had sold our house and I had some equity from that, and I invested in her, and I started to present as her and teach as her on social media. And that has been the culmination, because I'm presenting to the world as her now. So, and she and I are the same, but it feels like an alter ego because I don't present as her all the time. So the example I like to give is RuPaul. So RuPaul is known for an amazing drag character. RuPaul is also known as the man behind the drag character. And so he has these two personas, and he's known for both, and he presents well in both. I am similar. I have my alter ego, who's my highest expression, and she's my teaching tool, Lotus Rose, and this is her. And then I have Stephanie, and she does not always wear wigs, and she does not always wear witchy glam. So I don't present in the world as her every day, because sometimes I don't need to. So I can be very introverted and need processing and needing not to be stimulated too much. So, presenting as her requires certain energy. I can't do that all the time. So, but this is her, this is me. And the culmination has been me stepping into my purpose, being her, and doing that in spite of like fears and limiting beliefs and you can't do that and no one's gonna care and no, it's not gonna work and just all the things. And I slowly but surely have pushed past all of that, and I am here and I am getting ready to share all of this with you so you can do the same thing. You can step into your highest expression. It might be an alter ego character. It might just be a more refined version of how you're presenting already. So also remember too, like your highest expression might be minimal. It might be a minimalist. Mine is maximal. It is bold. It's color. It's wigs. It's like a character. Yours might not be a full-on character. It might just be you stepping it up a little bit, or it might just be you using your voice a different way. So I think keep in mind that your journey is not gonna be exactly like mine, but you can use the tools and the timeline, to your advantage to bringing your highest expression forth.